everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Praise. Today I wanted to share the highlighted parts that I did in the Growing Slow in chapter 20. Excuse me, that I read in the last video, I believe, that I posted. And part of it, I'm going to kind of tie it in with some of the things that are going on in my life and my health journey, as well as just health issues in general, and kind of share a little bit more about that. Because that's kind of what this book has had me think about, taught me some things about how I need to take care of myself in order to feel better and have a healthier life and be able to do the things that God has called me to do. So the first highlighted portion I have is all seasons and all life under God come full circle. So, we all go through seasons. This was something that I'm not sure if it was in the beginning of this study. It's been a while that I started reading this. So, I believe it was on the website, and I'll try to look this up and see if I can link it below in the description or in a pinned comment. There was a test that you could fill out, like a questionnaire, and it would kind of give you an idea of what season you were in, whether you're in, excuse me, a spring season, a summer season, a fall season, or a winter season. And I mean, I know that we do that kind of by age. So, we consider like our youth, maybe even into our 20s, early 30s might be like or at least your 20s, your spring season. And then, you get into the summer in your 30s, maybe in the 40s, you're like, 50s, something like that. You get into a fall season, winter season. I'm not sure how they break it up, but I know I've heard that before. But this, at least the way I understood it, is more about what season you are in your spiritual life and just in general, not necessarily by your age, more about by what is going on in your life or what you're trying to do. So I think when I did the test, I think it was in I think he meant to fall, but I'm not sure. But the more I've read through this and everything, it seems like because of the things going on, it was kind of like maybe a fall winter season. I just kind of don't winter well, just like it said in the book. She mentioned that at least once, maybe more than once, but I remember that being said. And winter is supposed to be a season of, rest and dormancy, taking care of the things, the small things that matter, taking care of your soul, taking time to just enjoy the slowness of it all. And I'm trying to find the beginning of this section. And yeah, so the section part 4 of this book is winter rest. And the quote that she had on that page is, "In seed time learn, in harvest teach, in winter enjoy." So, usually, you harvest everything, and usually in the fall, everything that's left over, you harvest that and you enjoy those things throughout your winter. So like, the squashes and the I know that's what I always think about, because it's always the butternut squash soups or baked squash or different things like that. And so I think about that and I wonder, well, how can I enjoy the things that I've accomplished, or whatever work that I've done to get me to this point? Well, I don't winter well, so I don't ever take the time to enjoy those things, or even just to rest from the things that have been hard. And so here, like she says, all seasons, all life under God come full circle. So we're going to go probably through many springs and summers and falls and winter seasons of life, not just the seasons themselves, but also in our own life. We're going to go through times where we have plenty, times where it's just, the warmth and the fun of summer, and then the fall where things are slowing down, you start getting your harvest, and things start changing, the growth that comes in that time as well. And then the winter when everything has died or goes into hibernation, and we take that time to reflect and just be still and enjoy time in the presence of God. The next part that I have is, you belong to God's good earth, and one day we will live together in a new and glorious earth. We wait with hope while living in a place of drought and tears and winter storms that interrupt the fresh start of spring. And so we are going to go through hard times. We're going to go through things that are going to make us want to give up, things that are just, health issues, family issues, relationships falling apart, or just the hard times that the world is going through, just in general. And they will affect us some way or another, whether that's through stress, through worry, through even just the prices of groceries going up, the prices of gas going up. All those things are going to affect us, and they will affect the season that we are in spiritually, emotionally, mentally, just the, our full, whatever we're going on in our life at that time. And another thing that I highlighted is, God does not abandon us, no matter what season we find ourselves in. This is, and always shall be, the ancient way of growing slow. Now, I think for a while there, I kind of felt that. I felt that, am I alone in this? Because of the issues that I have. Now, I haven't shared a lot of that. I mean, I've shared a lot of the medical stuff, but I took my injection of Mounjaro today, and I'm trying to stay hydrated because I noticed yesterday I was at my niece's basketball games. It's a tournament, so 2 of my nieces play, and I did not drink enough water or anything in liquids. I did have some herbal tea with me that was really good, a black tea, lavender black tea that my sister gave me. So I had that iced, and I had my water bottle and took an extra water, but it was just like not enough for the whole day. So I'm trying to do that today. And so there's one thing. So when I was really young, that I've talked about having the cyst and all of that, and I started having some things happen to me that made me feel like something was wrong. So either, part of it was I didn't feel well. A lot of stuff was either making me overwhelmed. I was having, like, certain, even foods would make me sick, which I find out now that some of them I'm allergic to, or my body just doesn't deal well with them. But also just overwhelm. Being around a lot of people. I struggled through school with that because I really hated it. I learned how to, I guess, cope with it in the sense that I didn't want to be in trouble. I didn't want to bring that kind of attention to myself. So I was like, well, I've got to go. So I'm just going to have to go, and deal with it. But I didn't know how to deal with the stress and all the overwhelm that came with that. And so, that affected me. And I think it made some of the health issues worse that may have been going on since then, like I've mentioned before. Now, after that whole thing happened with the cyst, and really not knowing what exactly was going on, and the weight gain started, and I just felt like I wanted to be invisible and hide. I went through periods of really dark depression, even as young as, I think I was, the first time it really was really bad, that I can remember. I was in 8th grade, and it was to the point where I wanted out of the world. I know there's a lot of things certain things we can't really say on on YouTube, probably Facebook as well, but I know you can, just imply what I meant by that, Ugh, okay, here we go again. I'll just say that, and I'm sure you can understand what I'm talking about. And at that time, a friend of mine talked to her mom, who talked to me and talked to my mom at that time. Now, it didn't go over well, because what parent wants to hear about her kid having those kind of issues, especially that young, and there was a lot of things that I didn't share with anybody. So, like I said, it didn't sit well with my mom, and of course my parents, but she was the one that was there when my friend's mom went over to talk to her, which my friend's mom was a social worker, or still is. I don't know. So because I didn't know how to explain myself then, and tell her what was going on. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I think I adjusted it as good as I could so that he doesn't hit it and it falls over again. Okay, so because of that, and I was having a really hard time anyway, and I didn't know how to communicate what was happening, so it just kind of went to the idea that I was just crazy and I needed to just get over it, and whatever. So after that, I just kind of didn't talk about it anymore. So now I'm very grateful that I had a relationship with God since I was really young, because the things that went on in my life at that time, and the way I didn't know how to deal with them. I mean, it was scary at however old we are in first grade, 7-ish or 6, 7, having a panic attack at school and not knowing what was going on, not being able to explain it, not wanting to go back to that school because it was that bad. And so after that, I just became a very, I don't know if I would call myself introverted. I mean, I am. I do like to talk to people, but I have to trust you. So it is, I guess it would be like introverted, but it was more like I just kind of caved into myself, and I just kind of let go of the ideas of being, I don't know, I guess just being able to do things that I really enjoyed, because I was afraid I was going to have a panic attack again. I was afraid of all these things. And so there was very few things that I tried. And the things that I did try didn't last for very long, because I couldn't deal with that type of feeling of being anxious all the time and worried about what I looked like, how I was being perceived, if, just drawing attention to myself. So, the one constant that I had was my relationship with God. And even that was hard for me to realize that it was, that he was still around, because there was things that I just like, why would that happen? Or why would somebody treat me that way? Or why am I going through this? Why, all these whys and what ifs. So fast forward a little bit, and the weight gain got worse in high school. It still wasn't as bad as now looking back, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but still, for being that age and all the things that go on in your life at that time, it's like, it was horrible. And because of that, I felt like I lacked control because something was happening to my body and I didn't know how to control it. So I tried to control how I felt all the time. And so I kind of turned off my emotions and I just wouldn't cry. Still have a very hard time with that. I don't like it. I don't like emotion, period. I shut down very easily. So now it's become so automatic that sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it. There are times I do catch me doing it and I try to stop it, but that's just something I learned to deal with the things that were going on. So now the whatever that that I have, and these were probably maybe within the last 10 years. So maybe I was about 36, around there. The first thing was, I think it was something to do with depression. I don't know if it was major depressive disorder or something to do with that. And anxiety. Well, it was general anxiety disorder and agoraphobia, social anxiety. Like, there was a lot of that. And it was just kind of learning. And a lot of that was my fault in a way because I didn't want to talk in counseling. It was really hard. I would rather go in there and ask them how they were doing because that's just how I deal with things. So it took me a long time. Like, I'm still seeing the same counselor. I saw one before her, but then I quit going because I didn't want to do it anymore. And then when I went back, this the one I'm seeing now, she's the same one that I had then, and I really do like her. I think I've learned a lot. I just have a hard time implementing it because it means taking care of myself, putting myself first in certain situations, and not in a selfish way, but in a, if I want to take care of someone else, I need to take care of myself. So in all that time, I kept wondering, where are you, God? I know you're there. Like, my mind knew, but I couldn't bring my, that emotional part, the my spirit to really know and just be okay that yes, this is happening, but he's still there with you. Because in those times, it's like you're in this wilderness, and I felt like that for a long time. Like, I'm just stuck in this wilderness time, and a lot of it was of my own doing. I'm sure you know the story of Moses and them wandering through the desert for 40 years, and a lot of it was because of the choices they made, and there was a lot that choices I made that kept me going in circles and circles and circles, and not finding that way out of it, whether that be through accepting what's going on and just living with it, but living joyfully. I just had it at the tip of my mind in scripture, but I'll find it and I'll share what I was, if I remember. But so okay, well, so there that went on, and then I was diagnosed with PTSD due to certain traumas in childhood. Loss of family members when I was really young. That was one, but that wasn't, there was just other things. And I think part of it was just the way that I perceived him, or how my child mind did. And I didn't understand. My first instinct is to worry and try to fix, even then as a really young kid. And so a lot of it was because of my reaction to things that weren't my things. But I thought, oh, I could help. So when I would come up with all these scenarios of how to help, but I was a kid. It wasn't my place. And I couldn't do it anyway. And even now as an adult, I can't change anybody else. I can't control them. Can't control what's happening. And it's a struggle I still have. So, and there's other things that still I don't know that I'll ever share, but maybe. Then later on, trying to remember, I should have gotten my stuff all written down to remember what they were, but I know ADHD, ADD was one of them, and that came about, I think I shared this before, in a strange way, over a conversation with the psychiatrist that I was seeing at the time, going over like med reviews and stuff, and I for some reason mentioned coffee drinking and how it calmed me down instead of giving me energy. So that's how that whole thing got started. And because of some of the things that my counselor and psychiatrist noticed, I was on a rule out for, which just means they're looking into this one thing, and it all depends on the things that are going on in your life and what you're sharing, I guess, and what they see for bipolar 2. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, that used to be called manic depressive disorder, or I don't know. Don't quote me on that because I'm not even sure. Should have done my research before I got on here, but I'm just sharing off the top of my head most of the time when I do my videos. I hardly ever have a plan. But so now within the last, I don't know if it was a year, 2, that became one of the diagnoses that I have. So basically it's a lot of days of, depressive days, I guess, and some with, I don't know how to explain the manic part of it. I don't even know for myself what's happening yet. I mean, this is like and a lot of it's because I try to not sit with myself and figure it out. I know there's something going on. I know there's things that I do that will alert other people to, okay, she's on a, having a manic episode or whatever. But I know right now I'm on medication for these things, except for the ADHD, because that one I tried and I don't like any of them, honestly. If I want eventually, like, my goal with this whole healing journey is to get off of all of these medications. I don't know how I'll do that exactly. That's what that's what my therapy is for too, is to learn all the coping mechanisms that I can do. Some things that, more natural things, whether that be vitamins. There's some great herbal teas. Like, I love herbal tea, and I know there's a lot of stuff that benefits even depression and anxiety, and just for mental clarity, for things like that. So, and if that's something that anyone's interested in, as I go along and research that stuff, which I've done some already, and I do take some, like, some herbs, some do you call them spices, like turmeric, I always say that wrong, cayenne pepper, and that's good, like ginger. Those things are good for inflammation, pain, things like that, even for blood sugars. Now, I'm not a doctor, but disclaimer, I don't know if this will work for you. It's something that you've got to research and talk to your doctor about, or make your own decisions on that. But it did work for me, especially, I haven't done it consistently more recently, but a few years ago when I was doing the my whole food plant-based diet, I was really consistent with the I think I was doing zinc, turmeric. I would do I think I did cinnamon and ginger, but those I did more in my teas and in things I was cooking, and all of them actually, except for the zinc, of course. And then I am on a vitamin D3 50,000 I use, or whatever it is, because I have low vitamin D. And that's been a struggle of mine for a long time. So I've been taking that for a while. It has gradually gone up. It's still not at normal yet, as far as I know. So that's the other another thing that's going on. But because of all those things, like what I highlighted, I for a while there I thought, is he abandoning me in these illnesses, in this medical issues? And he hasn't, because no matter what I go through, no matter how hard it gets, he always provides a way for me to get what I need. It's just that I have to remember to make the decision to take that